Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I appreciate y'all stopping by. Thank you so much for checking out today's video. We're going to take a deep dive into Newcastle. His kit was revealed today, so we're going to talk about his kit, we're going to talk about his weaknesses, his partner legends, and everything else in between. As always, if you like today's video, be sure to drop a like down below and subscribe if you are new, as we post Apex content all the time. And without further ado, let's jump into it. So first we're going to talk about Newcastle's design. I personally think Newcastle's design is actually really cool. I think we can do a lot of really cool things with the different cosmetics, and we have a lot of just potential in that area. So I think his design is really cool. His shield on his back just looks really good as well. And of course, he'll be the next fortified legend. So now we officially have 3 fortified legends and another defensive legend as well, which I think the game definitely needed. No more offensive legends. I think we're good on that. It's good to see another defensive legend come into the game. And now we'll jump into his kit. So his passive is Revive the Wounded, his tactical is a mobile shield, and his ultimate is Castle Wall. Some more info: the strength of Newcastle's knockdown shield and Revive the Wounded is actually based on the level of his knockdown shield. So the better knockdown shield he has, the stronger that shield is. So that shield does have a health bar, which is, I think, a really cool way of involving knockdown shields other than the way that they're involved in today's game. It actually has a purpose with that, with this legend, so I think that's a really cool addition. His mobile shield. So his mobile shield, he can move at will, but it'll also move with him as he continues to move, which I think is just, that's really cool. But it also has a health bar as well. We don't know how much that health bar is, but we're assuming it's definitely less than his ultimate, which is about 800 per section of the castle wall. So assuming that, we'll assume that it's relatively easy for a team to be able to destroy, probably very similar to a rampart shield in that regard. So still something very strong and something that can be definitely used in multiple ways. Now his ult, he's actually able to leap to his teammates with Castle Wall if he needs to, but he can also just leap forward if he wants to as well. And when we're looking at the Castle Wall, it looks like it's somewhat electrified, so wondering if enemies run into it, or if they get close to it, if they get hurt like a Watson fence. But also when he throws it down, it seems to create some type of blast. So we'll have to see if that does damage as well. I believe it will, which I think is, again, very strong and very good for what he does. But something to definitely keep an eye on, as we'll have to see how much damage it does, is I don't think it'll do very much. It'll do a little bit, but not a lot. And now we'll talk about the impact he'll have on the game today. So the biggest thing about Apex Legends that we see, and we see this across the map, across all maps really, is third partying. And I believe this is going to be a really good way to not necessarily prevent third partying at all, but to slow it down. Being able to res your teammate with a shield, but also throw down a shield with his tactical is I think very good, and a really strong way to prevent third partying, at least get a reset off so you can take a fair 3v3 fight. And then of course his ultimate can be used in different ways too. His ultimate can be used as an offensive to take a position, maybe high ground or something, using a Wraith or some other mobile character to get up to the high ground, and then being able to use his ultimate in combination with that. I think very strong there. And of course defensively, in case of a third party, you realize you're about to get third partied, you throw down his ultimate, you set a baseline of defense, and now you're also able to res any down teammates with additional cover. Some weaknesses that I do notice with his just abilities in general is, if you are adept at throwing grenades and you're adept at maybe a bird nade, I think that's definitely a weakness of his, is if you can find a way to get around his barrier or just through his barrier, then we definitely have a few weaknesses there. Along with the obvious ultimates of the Gibby ult and the Bangalore ult, being able to take someone out of a position that they've established, which we saw that when Rampart came in. We thought she was going to be pretty cool and pretty strong, and it just realized that, like, maybe not as much as we thought anyway. Now, he will definitely be stronger than Rampart. He definitely will. However, there just are a few weaknesses that he has, and those are things that teams are going to exploit to be able to take advantage of people using him as a legend. Now, I do still think he will be very strong. We'll see him used very often in ranked and obviously public matches, and maybe even in competitive as well. Which begs the question, who would you play with Newcastle? Now, my first instinct is actually Newcastle and Gibby, to be able to have both layers of defense. Depending on what they do to Gibby, we've heard a nerf may be coming, but nothing is confirmed quite yet. So that'll be interesting to see. However, I do think he pairs really well with Gibby, just to be able to really fortify your defenses. I think that would be very, very strong. And of course, you'd have to have some mobility with that set as well. So either partnering with a Valk or some type of movement character, Ashe or Wraith, to be able to get around the map. I think that would be a really great trio. I think a few other legends that would go really well is also Bangalore, being able to smoke off positions to be able to get that full reset. I think that would be really strong. Caustic, of course, just being really fortified down, putting some barrels down behind that, so if teams tried to get around, that would obviously deter them from doing that, but not just deter them, also really prevent them from doing that as well. So I think there's a few options that we can see Newcastle play with and still, be very effective. Now begs the question, do we think he'll be overpowered or underwhelming, or somewhere in the middle? Now, I don't think he'll be underwhelming at all. I think I'm leaning more towards overpowered. However, I don't necessarily think he'll be like super OP like Seer was when he first came out, and we saw every single team have a Seer. I still think we'll see other legends and other trios that don't have Newcastle on them, but I do think that we will see a lot of Newcastle trios even after his initial release and his pick rate starts to decline a little bit. So I still think he's going to be a very strong legend moving forward, and we'll see him potentially even in a competitive format, which would be really cool to see. Honestly, overall, I'm just excited for the future of Apex. We have a lot of changes coming down the pipeline, a lot of really good changes as well, and it starts with the Newcastle being the next defensive and fortified legend we're adding to the game. So I really like the direction that Apex is taking a more balanced approach rather than just totally offensive with all of their characters. So really cool. Again, just really excited for the future of Apex and for the release of Newcastle. But enough of what I think. I want to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think about Newcastle, what you think about his kit, what you think if he's going to be overpowered or not. Love to hear your opinions as well. And until next time, thank you guys so much for checking out today's video. Remember, if you guys like what I do, like the video, subscribe, as we post Apex content almost every single day. And again, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Until next time, guys, deuces.